Okay, good evening. So after the little introduction that we gave the other night, we're going to start tonight by reading through the first Mishnah of Perek Chelek and the Rashi on the Mishnah, and especially because these little snippet classes are pretty short, it's going to take us a few of them to work our way through explaining the entire Mishnah. But as I said, tonight's effort is going to be initially focused on just getting through the words of the Mishnah. Kol Yisrael yesh lem chelek le'olam haba. All of Yisrael has a portion of the world to come. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, va'amech kulam tzadikim, your nation is completely righteous. Le'olam yirshu aretz, forever they will inherit the land. Netzer matoi, a branch of what I planted, ma'aseh yadai, my handiwork, lihispaer, for me to be proud of. And we discussed the other night exactly, or inexactly, I should say, what Olam Haba refers to. Ve'elu, and the following, she'ein lehem chelek le'olam haba. The following people do not have a portion in the world to come. Now, the Mishnah began by saying all of Yisrael has a portion, and now it's going to discuss who doesn't have a portion, and that seems to be a contradiction. Again, that's one of the issues which we will deal with later on. Ha'omer ein tchias hamesim min haTorah. Someone who denies that there is a Torah basis for the concept of the resurrection of the dead. Ve'ein Torah min hashemayim, someone who denies the divine origin of the Torah. Ve'apikoros. Now, the exact definition of what an apikoros is, that's something that we're going to have to wait till the Gemara will define it for us. Rabbi Akiva Omer af hakore b'svarim hachitzonim. Rabbi Akiva says also someone who reads outside works. And again, the definition of outside works is going to wait until we get to it in the Gemara. Va'lochesh al hamakeh, someone who whispers over an injury. Va'omer, and he whispers the following pasuk: Kol hamachla asher samti b'mitzrayim. Any illness that I placed on Egypt, lo asim olecha, I will not place upon you. Ki ani Hashem rofecha, because I am Hashem, your doctor. Abashol omer af hahoge es Hashem ba'osiyosav. Abashol adds someone who speaks out the name of Hashem in its letters. And again, we're going to get a chance later on to discuss specifically which name of Hashem are we prohibited from speaking it out in its letters. That's issue number one that we will discuss later on. And secondly, why is it so terrible? Shlosha Malachim, 3 Jewish kings, Va'arba Hedyotos, and 4 commoners, Ein lehem chelek le'olam haba, do not have a portion of the world to come. Who are the Shlosha Malachim? Who are the 3 kings? Yeravam, Achav, Umenashe. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. He says Menashe yesh lo chelek le'olam haba. Rabbi Yehuda maintains that Menashe does have a portion of the world to come. Shenemar, because the pasuk says Vayispalel Elov, that Menashe prayed to Hashem. Vayishma tchinaso, Hashem listened to Menashe's supplication. Vayishiveu Yerushalayim, he returned Menashe to Yerushalayim l'malchuso, to his monarchy. And so at this point, Rabbi Yehuda is understanding that if Menashe's prayer got him back to his monarchy, then surely it must have gotten him back in good graces with Hashem, and he must have retained or regained his chelek in Olam Haba. Amrulo, but the other sages responded to Rabbi Yehuda, L'malchuso heshivo. Yes, Hashem returned Menashe to his monarchy, V'lo l'chaye ha'olam haba, but not to life in the world to come. As Shivo did he return. Arba hedyotos, who are the four commoners? Bilam, v'doeg, v'achisofel, v'gechazi. Bilam, Doeg, Achitophel, and Gechazi all lost their portion in Olam Haba. I am going to mention one thing over here. The fact that the Mishnah finds it necessary to tell you that Bilam lost his portion in the world to come certainly makes it clear that even one who is not Jewish could have a portion in the world to come. Even though the Mishnah initially said, Kol Yisrael yesh lehem chelek l'olam haba, but from the fact that later on we find it necessary to exclude Bilam, that would seem to be a clear indication that Bilam could have had a portion but lost it. And again, we'll talk more about this later on. Let's take a look at what Rashi says. Kol Yisrael yesh lehem chelek l'olam haba, all of the Jewish people have a portion of the world to come. Me'ikara, in the previous chapter, Ayri ba'arba misos. The Mishnayos had been discussing the different forms of execution that are utilized by Bezdin. Umefarish va'azuluhu lekuluhu. And the previous prakim, the previous chapters explained all of those various forms of execution. V'hadar mefarish hani, now lists those people, the Eilem Chelek L'Olam Haba, who also lost their portion in the world to come. Meaning that since we were in the middle of discussing the topic of punishments, so really the main part of this Mishnah is not the fact that all of Klal Yisrael has a portion in Olam Haba, but the main point is to tell you who does not have a portion in Olam Haba as a continuation of the discussion of punishments. Actually, there are those who maintain that the first line, that Kol Yisrael yesh lehem chelek l'olam haba, is really not part of the Mishnah, and it was added subsequently. Ha'omer ein tchias hamesim min haTorah. Rashi explains that when the Mishnah says that if somebody denies that there is a Torah-based concept of the resurrection of the dead, what does that mean? Shekofer b'midrashim, he denies the midrashim, the darshinan b'gemara lekaman, that the Gemara expounds upon later on. It says, minayin l'tchias hamesim min haTorah, from where do we find a Torah basis for the resurrection of the dead? Va'afilu yehi moda umamin, even if a person acknowledges and believes, sheyichyu hamesim, that the dead will come back to life. Eladolo mermiza ba'oraisa, but if the person believes that that concept is not alluded to in the Torah, koferhu, he is considered one who is a denier. Hoil va'oker, since he uproots, sheyesh tchias hamesim min haTorah, the concept of a Torah basis for resurrection. Ma lanu v'le'emunasa. If he's denying that it comes from the Torah, what do we care about him and his belief? How does he know it's true if he says there's no Torah basis? Hilkach, therefore, kofer gomerhu, he is considered to be a total denier. Apikoris, mefarish b'gemara, the Gemara explain what that is, and Sfar Machitzonim, Rashi also says mefarish b'gemara. Okay, so let's start looking into this a little bit deeper. We'll just start with one point tonight, and then next week we'll start getting into some other things. The Mishnah began, Kol Yisrael yesh lehem chelek l'olam haba. So why does it use the term Yisrael? So it's possible that the explanation is that the Svarim HaKadoshim say that the word Yisrael stands for Yesh Shishim Riboy Osios La Torah, that the Torah consists of 600,000 letters, as if to say that just like we know that there is a core of 600,000 Jews, So there's a quote, there's 600,000 letters in the Torah corresponding to each and every one of them. And the fact of the matter is, and you're welcome to count it, the Torah does not have anything near 600,000 letters. But the real point is that there's numerous spiritual connections that people could have to the Torah. And we say that Yesh Shishim Ribuy Osios La Torah, the point is to say that there's countless different ways in which a person could find a spiritual connection to the Torah. There's not one way, there's not 70 ways, but there are 600,000 unique ways that people could connect to the Torah. And it's that spiritual connection which is our portion in Olam Haba. Because Olam Haba, whatever it is exactly, which again, as we mentioned the other day, we don't know, but it is clearly a spiritual connection to God. And the mechanism through which we achieve that spiritual connection is the Torah. And so the Mishnah is beginning by telling us that every single Jewish person can find that connection. You don't need all 600,000 connections. You may be familiar with the Gemara at the end of Makos, which says there are 613 mitzvos in the Torah, and David HaMelech came along and boiled them down to 11, and Yeshaya Navi boiled them down to 3, all the way until Habakkuk boiled them down to 1. It doesn't mean that any of them were suggesting that we don't have to observe all of the mitzvos of the Torah. Of course we do. But the point is to say that you might not necessarily find yourself really connecting on a deep level with all of the mitzvos, but at least find 1, find 11, find 3. There are countless ways to connect, and that connection that you have, that is ultimately your Olam Haba. And Rabbi Tzadok makes it very clear that even if someone is not Jewish, but achieves a spiritual connection through the Torah, he also has a chelek in Olam Haba. The Mishnah says Kol Yisrael because all of Klal Yisrael is assumed and meant to be studying the Torah and connecting to it. But there's no exclusive statement leaving anybody else out. Everybody can achieve a portion in Olam Haba. We'll stop here. I bid you good night. And Emir Hashem, next week we will continue.